At the end of January, we announced a significant restructuring here at Deepwater, and I just want to give you an update on that process in three major areas: facilities, job descriptions, and farewells. We might as well start at facilities because we're coming to you live from the basement of North Street in what has traditionally been called the murder room, what we hope in the future will become known as the prayer room. This room is going to, when we get it done, is going to provide a place for people to gather for prayer. It's going to be a space for breakout discussion groups from things like Alpha and Riptide and CR. And it's also going to provide a home after our weekend gatherings for a program called Next Steps. Next Steps is a 4-week program. It's about 25 minutes immediately after the worship gathering that helps people get to know Deepwater, helps them to hear the gospel, helps them to get to know how they can become part of the community here and find a place to serve. We ran this a few times and it was super helpful for our Halifax congregation. And so now as we come together as this merged downtown congregation, we'll be offering it again as soon as this room is ready, and hopefully in the not too distant future in BLT as well. In addition to the changes in this room, in April, the space that's upstairs that has been the office space for the last 10 years is going to be handed over to our preschoolers. Now, some would argue that that will increase the maturity level of what happens in that space, but that's going to add some significant square footage to our kids ministry space. And of course, like all our kids ministry spaces, it's going to be available for those same kind of breakout discussion groups, small groups, that kind of thing, which of course begs the question, where the office is going to be. Well, adequate office space has been a challenge at Deepwater for years. Most of our staff don't even have desks, let alone an actual office to work out of. And if you think parking is challenging here in the North Street area, evenings or Sunday mornings, man alive, it is a whole other world of harder during the day. And it just recently got even harder because all of the all-day parking that used to be on one side of the street was turned into permit-only parking, and about half of the 1-hour parking was turned into permit-only parking. But the truth is, for years, with a little hiatus during the pandemic, we've been trying to find some sort of off-site space. And so we are excited to announce that after literally years of looking all kinds of different corners of the city, in this most recent round, we looked at stuff in Spryfield and Lower Sackville and Burnside, that we have finally found some office space for Deepwater that's going to allow our staff to have places to work together, to collaborate, that will keep them from having to work out of their own basements and garages and random coffee shops. It's also going to provide some much needed storage space for the church. It'll be a place where we can do kind of smaller meetings like staff meetings, leadership team meetings, some prayer gatherings, that kind of thing. And so early in April, we'll be moving into a space on McQuaid Lake Crescent in Bayers Lake that we're calling the warehouse, because in addition to office space, it's also got kind of a little warehouse space in the back. It's not like perfectly equidistant, there's a big word for you, between North Street and Timberley Baptist Church, where our BLT congregation meets, but it's kind of in the middle along the way between them. And again, this is going to allow our staff to be more productive, to be more efficient, to be able to actually have meetings with people, particularly meetings that can be confidential. It's going to allow us to provide our staff with, frankly, a proper work environment for the first time in almost ever. So that's what's going on with facilities. Next up, let's talk about job descriptions. As part of this restructuring, most of the staff have had some sort of change in their job description, some very major, some quite minor, a couple really nothing significant at all. But I just want to give you a quick overview of who does what, but anything that you might need to remember, like who leads Alpha, or who do I talk to if I want to become a member, or how do I go about being baptized, all that stuff is laid out really clearly on the website, and you'll be able to find that there. So we're just going to go through all the staff in order of kind of who's been here the longest. It starts with me. AJ Thomas, I'm the lead pastor. I lead the church in terms of vision, strategy, often major new initiatives that come up. I lead the leadership team. I lead the staff team. I lead the preaching team and serve as the primary preacher. And in this coming season, I'm going to be giving extra time to focus on helping us grow as a church that really is a praying church. You'll hear more on that soon. Jeff Fifield is our worship director. He's part-time. He directly oversees all the worship stuff from band to tech to planning for our downtown congregation. And he collaborates on a lot of that same stuff with our BLT congregation. And he offers support in those kind of media and tech areas to all the different ministries of the church. And then in this kind of new season, he's picked up overseeing the facility team that takes care of maintenance in our various facilities. That's Jeff. Kelly is one of our assistant pastors. She's also part-time. Her job description is almost completely new. She still oversees the Next Steps program that I mentioned earlier here downtown. She's now taking over the host team for downtown, including the communion servers and prep ushers, greeters, all that kind of stuff. She's overseeing the home church for downtown and collaborating with Timothy and Michaela on kind of home church for the church in general. She's doing all the guest follow-up and all the membership onboarding. So if you want to become a member, Kelly is the one you talk to, and she'll walk you through that process. Jackie Hill is our children's pastor. She leads upstream. That's all of our ministries from birth to grade 6. Her job description is the same. That's more than enough for any one person. Colin Wallace is our pastor of recovery. So he oversees Celebrate Recovery, but also Grief Share and Journey Towards Hope and the Money Course. He's picking up kind of the primary pastoral care responsibility. So if you need to talk to a pastor, Colin is a great first person to reach out to. He's also picking up the care teams ministry. So those are the folks who do things like bring meals to people who've just had babies or surgeries or a death in the family, that kind of stuff. He's also picked up the role of being the staff liaison to our reach out team, and he is picking up the leadership of our multi-ethnic ministry team. That's the team that helps us to thoughtfully grow in being a truly multi-ethnic church. Then we come to Sam Prime. He's our youth pastor. So he leads Riptide, which is our ministry for students from grades 7 to 12. But he's also involved in Rooted, which is the youth ministry of Timberley Baptist Church, our partners in BLT. And he is involved in the Youth Unlimited Youth Drop-In Center in Lower Sackville. And he also films and edits all the sermon videos that you see online or on Sundays. Then we come to Melissa Boyd, another one of our assistant pastors. She'll still be helping out with Riptide and worship. She's also going to be helping some with the pastoral care side of things, and then what you might call kind of the more formal pastoral ministries like weddings and funerals, baby dedications. Of course, you're free to approach any staff member about their availability to perform your wedding or organize your loved one's funeral or dedicate your baby, but she's kind of our go-to for those sorts of things. She's also going to be overseeing baptisms, everything from meeting with potential baptism candidates to making sure they kind of know the step they're taking, to making sure the tank gets emptied and put away properly and everything in between. And then maybe the biggest part of her job description is she's picking up leadership of Alpha. That's kind of one of our primary ways that we help people explore who Jesus is and what it would mean to put their faith in him, and Melissa is picking up leadership of that. Michaela Andrews is our executive pastor. The executive pastor does a million things, from like HR kind of stuff to overseeing contracts and service providers and insurance policies and, you know, the kind of things that have like files and binders and spreadsheets that are a part of them. She serves as a resource member of the leadership team, kind of a voice but no vote thing, where she keeps us organized and effective on things like protection policies and serving standards and metrics. There's a ton of level of detail there that I bet you if you really want to know, if you bought her a coffee, she'd walk you through it all. But just so many things. And then she also oversees our administrative coordinator, Angela Daw. She's also part-time. She takes care of all the kind of incoming communication. So if you email info@deepwaterchurch.com, Angela's the first person to read that. Or if you call the church's phone number, she's going to be the person who gets that message. She's the one who writes the loop every week. And just a ton of other kind of administrative, office-y sort of tasks that keep things running smoothly. And then Timothy Andrews is our communications pastor, so website, social media, any kind of promotion we're doing, graphic design kind of work. And then shorter, like Sam does the big sermon videos, Timothy does shorter kind of video projects like the one you're watching right now. He's currently holding this camera. And then together, Timothy and Michaela are our BLT site pastors. They lead worship in the gatherings in BLT, including the music and the communion and the baptisms and prayer teams. They oversee the host teams. They collaborate with Pastor Jackie on upstream stuff for BLT. They coordinate the BLT home churches. They provide pastoral care to the members of the BLT congregation. They lead our partnership with Timberley Baptist Church. They do some kind of site-specific preaching and a bunch of other things that are necessary to make our BLT site happen and to care for that congregation. So that's the facilities piece. That's the job descriptions piece. Finally, the farewells. There are a lot of exciting things that have been part of this restructuring, but there have been some really, really hard things too. And none more so than needing to say goodbye to Pastors Megan Swan and Matthew Thomas. And so we're going to be doing a special farewell to each of them on the week before their last week with us. So as part of those farewells, we're going to be taking some time to show our appreciation to them as a church at the end of the downtown congregation gatherings. And then after those gatherings, there'll be a chance for you to sign a book of gratitude with a brief message of thanks if you want. I know some of you are going to want to do more than a brief note of thanks. You're going to maybe want to write a letter or give them a card, maybe even put some sort of gift in that. And so we're going to have a basket available as well that you can place those things in that'll make sure they get to them. And there'll be sort of like a receiving line sort of thing, an opportunity for you to shake a hand or give a hug and share a few words of appreciation with them face to face. Now, we know that many of you in the BLT congregation will want to be able to be a part of this expression of appreciation and gratitude. And but we also know that your presence, both in terms of just being there, but also in the roles you fill, the ways you serve, is really important in BLT. And so I'm going to invite you to do something that I've never invited someone in my church to do before and may never ever do again. You ready? I want to invite you to show up to church late. To show up to church late. What I mean by that is plan to attend at 10 a.m. In BLT, but you could either come Saturday night or to the 11:15 gathering Sunday morning downtown here and just come for like the last 15 minutes. You'll catch all the appreciation part. You'll be part of the clapping. You can still sign the book, give the hug, say the kind words, that whole thing. You'll be able to get in on all of that. So if you want to come Saturday night, that would mean you'd want to show up at about 8:15. If you want to come on Sunday, that would mean you show up right about noon. So Megan's farewell is April 1st and 2nd. That's the Saturday and Sunday. And then her last Sunday with us will be the following Sunday. That's Easter Sunday. Matthew's farewell is April 22nd and 23rd. And then the following Sunday, the 30th, will be his final Sunday. So that's the update. Thank you for continuing to pray for us as a church and for all these logistics and adjustments, and especially for continuing to pray for Megan and Matthew as they seek what God has next for them. We'll see you Sunday.